All right, we are back for another Friday financial wrap up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
Man, you have no idea how much I look forward to these. It's really the culmination of a week's worth of reading and topics. So thank you for doing this every week. I appreciate it. And I have a lot of fun too. So thank you.
I have a lot of fun as well. I always learn a ton from you. Let's get right into it. So we are recording this on Thursday. This is for the week of Friday, December the 22nd. This would be considered Christmas weekend. Let's get into the show. Let's talk about existing home sales. What happened this week and where are we?
Yeah, I think existing home sales are one of those important ones because, again, last month I called the bottom at 3.79. I have to tell you, I was a little nervous given that rates started last month over 8, that we may get something below that, but it didn't happen. The experts were calling for 3.78. I was calling something north of 3.8. Thus, 3.79 is the bottom, and we came in at 3.82. So transactions exceeded expectations a little bit. 3.79. I feel confident now will be the cycle bottom, which I called a year ago. So I feel good about that. Prices were up year on year about 4%. So the crash bros are wrong again.
Yep.
Or I should say still at this point. It's not again. They're still wrong. First time home buyers were up. Right? When you break down the numbers inside the 3.82, first time home buyers went up to about 38% from 34. So they made up a larger percentage of the market. Investors or cash buyers were down, which again, when rates are at 8, it's hard to cash flow deals. Then the last thing I think that National Association of Realtors reported, or NAR, was that luxury homes are seeing the biggest discounts and homes below the median are hard to find. If you follow our weekly discussions or my daily stuff, that should not be news to you. But NAR is reporting it finally in their report. So kind of like told you so moment for us. But now the big boys are reporting it. So yeah, existing home sales, 3.82. I think 3.79 will be the cycle bottom. I'm not calling for a big rush back. But hey, the bottom's in and you can't start building until you have a bottom. So there you go.
I love it, man. So spot on. You've been calling the market. We've been talking about this for months, if not, feels like about the last 18, 24 months of this
Yeah.
last couple of years.
Yeah.
And something too, I love NAR confirming that something you said, we haven't said this word in a long time, a bifurcated market, meaning above the median, at or below the median, still
Yeah.
very competitive, red hot.
They're like different markets. They're just different. Yeah.
Do you see that trend continuing into 2024?
Yeah, certainly. I don't see anything that would stop it. Yeah, I think the Fed broke housing. I just think they broke it. And the only thing that's going to fix it is time.
Yeah.
Damn, it's just a broken housing market. Yeah.
Very interesting. So, within a broken housing market, a lot of opportunity. I want you to just unpack just a little bit for
Sure.
somebody that's maybe newer to the show, newer to the channel. When you say that 3.8 million
Mhm.
transactions, explain what that number
Yeah.
is and why it's the bottom. Just unpack that a little bit more.
Yeah. So first off, so for example, the number that was just reported, it was 3.82 million homes sold in the month of November. Does that mean 3.82 million homes were sold in November? No, it does not. What NAR does is they take the performance of November and they quote unquote annualize it, right? You know, so we did something significantly actual numbers are significantly less than 3.8. But the reason they want to annualize it is so you can put it on the chart and go back and look at decades of information.
Yep.
And you could see, hey, are we growing? Are we shrinking? And again, if you've taken the time to download my free 53-year spreadsheet on onerentalatatime.com, you will see exactly why I called it and have called it right, because we've been here before. We have been here before 1980, 81, 82. And also, it leads me to believe that we're going to be at the bottom for a while, right? I think you and I talked about this one time to get back to I think the peak was like 1980. It took like 14 years to get back to the transaction peak. Now, I don't think it takes 14 years, but it's going to take more than 14 months to get back there. So, Yeah, it's a transaction count. So there you go.
Very well said. And then also just looking back, if we look at like 2020,
Mhm.
2021, those were basically trending peak years at
Yeah, six
plus 6
four.
million.
Yeah, 6.4 ish.
Got it.
Again, those are existing home sales. You also add on top of that new home sales for the total housing market, but existing home sales are roughly 80%, 85% of the market. So it's yeah, that's what most people talk about
And this is the new normal.
for the foreseeable future.
Okay. All right. I just want to really clarify for the audience, for the viewer, the listener. Let's keep going. So let's talk about core PCE for Q3. What is
Mhm.
PCE and what happens tomorrow or what happens actually on Friday?
Yeah, so there's this is really nuanced, and I'm glad we're talking about this. So let's talk about tomorrow first, and then we'll put today's number in context. Tomorrow, we will get the monthly reading of PCE, PCE standing for personal consumption expenditures. There will be four numbers reported. There'll be the monthly number, then there will be a year on year number, both for headline and core. Frankly, Friday's number is more important than today's number, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So again, we're recording this Thursday. We don't yet have Friday's numbers. We'll talk about those in the subsequent week. Now, what happened today? Today, we got a couple of very important things. First, I believe we got the final reading of Q3 GDP. It came in at 4.9%, down from an estimate of 5.2. No matter how you slice it, it's a robust quarter of GDP growth. I think the most important number that was reported was core PCE for Q3. For Q3, not November, not November, which we will get tomorrow. Why is it important? Well, Ty, what is the Fed's target for inflation? We've talked about this. Do you remember? What is the Fed's target?
2-3%.
2%.
Yep.
Inflation got as high as 9.1. The Fed has been in raising rates, trying to get us back to 2%. Now, why is this important? Core PCE was estimated to come in at 2.3 for Q3. It came in at 2%.
Wow.
The Fed hit their target, at least for Q3.
Yep.
Why is that important? That's important because one of my thesis, and right now I feel like a man on an island, I'm by myself. I believe the Fed will be cutting rates next year, not because of a recession, but because inflation is falling and they don't want to see the restrictive nature rise, right? The Fed tries to maintain a balance of what they call real rates. I believe around 2 to 2.5%. How do you get real rates? Well, you take inflation, you add on some margin, and then that becomes the rate.
Yep.
If inflation falls, in theory, again, this is only theory, the Fed will cut to maintain that spread. Historically, again, since 1960, the Fed has cut rates because of a recession. I am going out on a super shaky limb saying the Fed will cut without a recession just because inflation is collapsing. So we'll see.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I am learning so much from you. And yeah, thank God for Michael's work. Thank you, Michael, for all the work you do. You make it easy for the rest of us to at least digest and have a sense of where we're going. Let's talk about something you said last week and something that I wholeheartedly believe. I'm seeing it in my own business. I'm talking to friends. The spring selling season. When does it normally start? And when did it start or has it started?
Yeah. So if you go back to 2019, for most of the country, it's kind of March is when the spring selling season started. There are areas like Seattle starts in January, given the seasonal patterns. But historically speaking, if you wanted to go across the country, you would say March. What we've seen the last 2 or 3 years is it really started in February. What just happened because rates collapsed 150 basis points is I believe it started December 15th or December 18th or whatever, whenever the Fed came out and issued their dot plot. I said it because I saw an instant, almost light switch response. I said it because, frankly, I wanted to get feedback, right? Sometimes I say things crazy because YouTube and social media is a way to get instant feedback. And the feedback has been about 90-10. 90% you're right. Here are my numbers. And there have been 10% of folks saying you're a moron, you're an idiot, you're wrong. So, I think 90-10 is a pretty good ratio. I do think the spring selling season started, no matter what the doomers have to say. I mean, again, you got to remember what we talked about earlier. I'm generally worried about investors and first-time home buyers below the median. I mean, stuff's going pending that was 40 days old,
Right.
without a price drop. I mean, come on. And then I'm hearing from mortgage brokers and agents about inventory disappearing, multiple offers being back. I mean,
Yep.
dude, multiple offers in December? Seriously?
Yeah.
That's what's happening now? So yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I think the spring selling season started. We'll see the numbers in about 4 weeks to see how December sales were. So we'll see.
Very interesting. Yes, it definitely feels like it. Everybody I talk to, even in my own business, I see it. It's definitely feels real. So let's continue. Let's talk about one of the hottest. This was the hottest topic, I think, not just in real estate, but in probably national news. It had to be one of the top 10, top 5 things, which is the 30-year mortgage interest rates.
Yeah.
What do you see this week, and just your thoughts for where we're at right now?
Yeah, so rates have kind of flatlined around 6.6 to 6.65. That's meaningful because we were just over 8. That's about 150 basis points. The Fed has tried to talk tough. It's not working. The 10-year, I'm just looking at my phone, is now at 3.86, down from 3.9 yesterday. So rates probably come in a little bit on Thursday. The big thing about rates is it's like we talked about, it's working. It's bringing the marginal buyer back. I talked to a couple of brokers, and in their markets, just with a 1.5 drop in rates, that's $400 or $500, right? These are obviously more expensive markets, but that's enough to change somebody's decision.
Yeah.
If you want to go buy points, I mean, you could get in the 5s now. You can get in the 5s. Also, on top of that, we're hearing more and more about refis, right? A lot of FHA and VA buyers are eligible for what's called a streamlined refi. So we're going to see more disposable income, and that means more spending given consumer behavior. So yeah, I want to be clear. My hope is rates fall slowly.
Yep.
I do not want to see mortgage rates below 6% in February and March. That would be a problem. That would be lighting a match on dry kindling, and it could be a real big problem. I would love rates to be 6.5 to 7. Shoot, I would love rates to be 6.5 to 7 all year. We need time to get through this. But if Fed starts cutting, the economy slows down, we could see rates sub 6%. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk more about why it would be a problem. I have an idea. You and I have talked about this a lot. I think most of the normal people that have been with you for a while, I think they're tuned into it, but we're going to talk about that more. But let's continue with the show notes. Let's talk about consumer confidence. It's obviously the holiday season, retailers, Amazon, big box retailers, Costco, Walmart, Target. Just what did you see this week with consumer confidence?
Yeah, so consumer confidence is getting stronger, right? We were on a pretty negative trend for 3 or 4 months where the consumer was kind of retreating, getting more nervous. But last month was a barn burner, right? Just for historical context, I think last month with 101, expectations were 104.5, and it came in at like 110.4. Those numbers should mean nothing to you, but the direction and the gap should tell you all you need to know. Consumers are getting more confident. Why is that important? It means they're going to spend more. I have seen holiday spending estimates rise dramatically in the last 30 days. It went from about $950 to $1,300, the average person spending on holidays. That is consumer confidence. And consumers are getting confidence because they're seeing inflation fall. Look at gas. Again, that's not negative, but it's you know, it's not deflation, all out deflation, but it's certainly disinflation. So they're bringing in their expectations on inflation, which is a good thing. They're seeing a stronger job market than they expected. The doom and negativity that was looming over consumers for the last 3 or 4 months seems to be dissipating. And I suspect, given rates crashing, that the consumer is going to start feeling more and more confident. It's just how this works. And a confident consumer, it's hard to have a recession.
Interesting. Very interesting. Again, always great to have our ear to the ground. Always great to be with you. You're doing the work. We appreciate. We get to talk about it. I get to help summarize. So speaking of summarize, let's talk about, right? We're at the end of, we got basically another 10 days left of the year, or less than 10 days.
Yeah.
Holiday is here. It's, Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate. Obviously, traditionally in our country, this is a slow next, week and a half. Mm-hmm. How would you summarize 2023 in terms of what happened in real estate, where we're at in the cycle of finishing 2023?
So when I go back and look at 2023, I go back to all the discussions I had with my millionaires. And what I will say is the end of the year is clearly better than the beginning. The beginning of the year, if you go back to 2023 in the real estate industry, we were suffering, right? If you were in the flipping business, you were getting crushed because you were buying late Q3, Q4 of 22. Then the market stopped because of rates. And a lot of people lost a lot of money. I'm talking to Ryan Pineda later today. Hopefully it doesn't move. But Ryan Pineda put out a video talking about losing $2 million. Right. So there's a lot of people. Jason Pritchard, 6 figures, January. Now you flash forward to December, it's kind of a completely different story. Rates are falling. The consumer is more confident. And the other thing I would tell you about the housing industry that I'm calling is we bottomed. I called 3.8 months ago as the bottom. It hit 3.79. I'm going to call that a win. And I think we go up from here. But let me be clear. Going up from a bottom does not mean we're racing back to 6 million. It doesn't even mean we're racing back to 5 million. I'm not even sure we get back to 4.5 million in 2024. But if we're at 3.8, I'll just round the number, and we get back to 4.1, that is a 10% increase.
Yep.
So again, I think we bottomed. 2024 will go down as the bottom, October. I think we grind sideways with a slight uptick or lean on transactions. I can't imagine getting above 4.3 or 4.4 this year. So I think I'll call like 4.2.5, something like that. But again, that's a 10% move. So I think 2024 for the real estate, the mortgage industry will be different. I think the mortgage industry will even do better than agents, because I actually think there will be a refi business.
Yep.
Right. I think there was enough transactions done over 7.5. And if rates fall to the low 6s, there will be some refi activity.
Yep.
And so I guess the best thing I could say about 2023 is we're ending in a better place and we bottomed. That's kind of my summary.
Yeah. And I will wholeheartedly agree with you that there was definitely pain in the beginning of the year, slow projects, uncertainty, even some people, some of my friends, close friends, taking losses on flips, projects, things of that nature. I got to say there was probably a point, even I got a little, even though we're talking about this every week, I got a little bit nervous when we hit 8% plus. I knew we were going there because of all the work and everything we do, but also too, when I'm reading headlines where they're talking about us going to like 9 or 10, I'm like, oh shit, what is that?
What does that mean?
Yeah. Do we go to 3.3 transact? Does the market get cut in half? Right. Or
yeah.
Also too, just, the uncertainty of, and I know you and I did a video probably 2.5, 3 months ago where I was like, what happens if commercial real estate completely collapses, the banks start failing again, and we're in World War III. And you had such a great answer, though. You go, well, basically rates are going to get, 30-year mortgage, and Fed is going to come in and start chopping rates.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which means, again, our business would tick back up. So I think looking forward, which we'll talk about next, it's an interesting year. And I want to just say this, that for the One Rental at a Time community, for realtors, real estate professionals, mortgage originators, investors, I think this is going to be a great year. And the reason why is because at plus or minus 4 million transactions, because you pay attention, you follow Michael, you follow the news, you follow the channel, you're going to be better educated, better prepared. But more than anything is you can add more value to a seller who needs to sell. And you're going to position yourself, I believe, to be an expert in our space. So Michael, your thoughts going forward into 24?
So the thing that I'm excited about 2024 is obviously we're starting from a better place. It was not fun, my circle of network losing in Q1, right? That was not fun to see. I saw the pain. I had PTSD back to the 08, 09 timeframe. Thankfully, it never got that bad, but there were some healthy haircuts. I guess leading into 2024, I think the other thing that's going to happen is we're going to start cleaning up some of the sins of bad deals in the multifamily space, in the commercial space. We're going to start to see some bankruptcies in business unicorns. Like we just saw one. We talked about Bird on the Daily Financial News, which was a scooter company that rented scooters that had a $2.5 billion valuation at one time, never made any money, bankrupt. We're going to see a lot of private equity. We're going to see a lot of unicorns that are zombies be put out of business, as they should. Right? They were a poor use of capital. We need to use our capital better in businesses that have returns. I think there will be some opportunities in the second half of the year to potentially pick up some multifamilies, which I've been stacking paper for 2 years for this to come. It might bleed into 2025, but I think at the end of the day, 2024 will be a year of good operators. It will be a year of cleaning up bad deals. And by cleaning up bad deals means there are going to be some people that lose money. There'll be some banks that potentially lose. But we're at the bottom. At the bottom, you generally clean up the mess from the preceding cycle. And that really makes 2025 a year of progress. So I'm excited for 2024 because I've been building and ready for it. I don't have any bad deals to put behind me. But yeah, that's generally 2024, I think.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Also, too, I just want to say that I love the direction in following your lead, and that you obviously looking at the bottom. We talked a lot about commercial real estate, even just to hear you say that, hey, being prepared for opportunities, cleanups. You talked about this week in Daily Financial News in the public stock market, a lot of merger acquisitions. You were talking about that for a long time. You've nailed that, although we're very real estate focused. 100%, Michael, thank you for all that you do. I want to wish everybody out there happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Next week, tell them about next week. Are you going to be doing a normal Daily Financial News? Talk about next week's schedule.
Yeah, so I have no intentions of stopping the Daily Financial News. Some of my millionaires aren't around, so some of them will be missing in action. But nope, I don't plan on doing anything different other than Monday. Monday will likely just be the Daily Financial News. I don't see any of my millionaires wanting to talk. But other than that, we're going to do Sunday and then start again on Tuesday. So the Daily Financial News on Monday may be the only video, given it is Christmas. But I'm going to get up early. My family won't. So nothing will change on my end.
I love it. I love it. And then next week, we are going to do a Friday financial wrap up, although we're going to put a core focus on projecting 2024. I've got a list of questions.
Oh, no.
For me, and specifically, I'll tease it a little bit. I'm super, super interested in the small multifamily space. And so I'll just tease it right now. Next week, we're going to talk about commercial real estate. We're going to talk about multifamily. We're going to talk about the fallout of some of these syndications. Is there an opportunity there? We're going to talk about pre-foreclosures. We're going to talk about what Michael, it's going to be me really interviewing Michael on where do you see opportunities in 2024. So that'll be next week's show. Is that good, Michael?
I can't wait.
I love it. Any parting words you want to wish the audience? Happy holidays.
Happy
Merry Christmas?
holidays. Merry Christmas. Make some memories, take some pictures, hug the family. Stop being a doomer. Don't follow doomers. Doomers aren't rich. The people that take action are generally, encouraged are the ones that make stuff happen. So
I
be
love
good.
it. I love it. Thank you, Michael, for all that you do. Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.